If I can have your attention here in the media center, we are now joined by Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Big news coming out this morning, Jimmie, that you've resigned for 3 more years for Hendrick Motorsports. Would you please walk us through your decision to give this another go-around?
Oh yeah, I've said it many times. I'm very content with where I'm at in the race car, and just truly enjoy competing and love being on the track. So to have a 3-year extension is, makes me smile, makes me excited about the future, and just can't wait to get in the car today and get out there and get to work.
Outstanding. We'll open the floor up for questions. We'll start here with Bob and work our way around.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Why 3 years? Do you feel like you only have three years left in you, or was that only just the length that you wanted to commit?
No, in previous extensions, I've had 5 years and 2 years, and I guess just the general conversation. This one's been 3 years. I've said it before and continue to say that when the fire does go out, I'll step down. I don't have any framework now on a timeline. I just know that I've got 3 more years of trying to go out there and win championships and win races, and I'm as hungry as I've ever been and as focused and dedicated on doing my job. So, we'll see how these 3 years go, and certainly from my standpoint, I hope to collect another big trophy and then lots of other race trophies along the way and have some fun.
Jimmie, before we go to additional questions, I want to ask you about, it's not just you coming back for 3 years, but also Lowe's coming back on board, and your name and Lowe's being synonymous with one another. How is that to have that kind of relationship continuing forward?
It's amazing. I mean, when you really think about probably 4 or 5 points, the long-term relationship with Lowe's, and have them back on for another full season is incredible and a huge statement. Chad Knaus, Chevrolet, Hendrick Motorsports, Jimmie Johnson, to have this long of a run together and to know that we're going to stay together is super special for sure.
Okay, we'll continue on. Questions? Just raise your hand. We'll get that wireless microphone to you. Questions for Jimmie Johnson?
All right, I did well.
We'll go back to Bob, then to Lee, then to Chris.
Have you convinced Chad to stay through 2020?
I think I've got another year to try to convince him. He has another year on his contract, and I'm sure discussions will take place about an extension for him. But he at least has another year, and I've started this with him, and I've said it before. I want to finish it with him, so I'll keep leaning on him. Those crew chief years, I've liked to call them dog years. I have no real clear. I don't have a clear picture on where that'll take him, but I'll do my best to keep him around as long as I can.
We'll go to your left here to Steve, then to Lee, then to Chris.
Jimmie, obviously there's a surge of no, you're good. There's a surge of young drivers driving well. What stands out to you about this youth movement?
Gosh, there's so much. It's hard to pick just one, but they're the excitement that they bring to each and every race. I think the fans are getting a real treat watching these young guys figure out how to get to victory lane. It's not an easy process. I was there in my rookie year and in my early years, and can still remember, the stress, the frustration at times when you don't capitalize on an opportunity, and then the elation when you are able to pull it off. So, proud of all the young guys coming along, and think that our sport's in great hands looking forward.
Go to Lee, then to Chris, then to Robbie.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Looking ahead 3 years, what do you expect Hendrick Motorsports to look like over that period of time? There appears to be big changes coming there. You said Lowe's is signed through 2018. This sport is shifting. What is their? I mean, clearly their history will make you comfortable being there, but what do you see as the changes that you have, the stability that you've known throughout your career at Hendrick Motorsports?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is just knowing how much Mr. Hendrick loves to win, and his commitment to winning, his commitment to Hendrick Motorsports. The sport's always changing and evolving, and how we win and how we stay on top has changed so much since I started in 2002, and I have full confidence and trust in him and where he takes the team. So, you know, sitting in closed door meetings, I know that there's a lot of options being explored, and I know in Rick's heart it's all to, you know, put the best 4 cars on the racetrack for Hendrick Motorsports and win races and championships. So it's hard to tell where it's going to go, but you know, my faith is in Rick. Absolutely. Yep.
We'll go to Chris, then to Robbie, then to Reed.
Chris9catchfence.com. Jimmie, congratulations on the extension.
Thank you.
Is there anything to make of Lowe's extending just through 2018? Do you expect them to hang with you through 2020? I think that's the initial reaction from the fan base.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. You know, we've come through so much together. Clearly, I'm not the one negotiating those contracts. It's not really in my department, but we do have them for 2018. I guess it would be 17 seasons together, and I certainly would hope and think that it would go on further. But I'm very excited to have a 1-year contract with them now, and 38 races, you know, at a full-time primary sponsorship is nothing to sneeze at.
Robbie, then to Reed, then to Chase.
Robbie Mays, good morning. Jimmie, 83 wins, 7 championships, 2 Daytona 500s. You've got another 3 years on the current contract. What is there next for you? What's your next goal that you want to accomplish in this sport?
You know, I've never honestly been driven by stats, and I've said it so many times, but it's hard to ignore where I sit on the wins list and not let my competitive spirit kick in and want more. So certainly would love to climb further up the ladder there. 8 championships. I would love to stand alone at that, but that's all predictable and easy stuff. You know, for me, it's really about racing. I just love to race, and the experience I have with my engineers, with my team, with Chad, that bond and that experience combined with the experience of driving and competing is there's a high in that I've chased my entire career, and that's still why I get in that race car. And someday when that fades, that's when I'll step down. It's not going to be because of stats and where I rank or, you know, how many championships I have. It's all about that experience in the car, and that experience is as cool as it's ever been, and I'm really enjoying it right now.
Go to Reed, then to Chase.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. So to follow up on Bob's question, there's no significance to read into the fact that it's 3 years at this point, and basically you're not saying this is my final contract, that you intend to go beyond that if the fire still burns.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, in all fairness to the questions and to myself, any contract I sign right now with my age is probably going to raise questions. So I get it, but I don't have a vision of if it's 3, if it's 5, if it's 7. I don't know. But I do know I'm having a great time, and I don't want to stop right now.
Okay. Go to Chase, and then we'll go to Danielle. Go ahead, Danielle.
Oh, I thought we were doing something else first. Sorry. Hi, Danielle, WTOL11. You do a lot of triathlons. You stay pretty in shape, I guess. Do you feel that played any role in making you want to do a 3-year extension? And do you think that's kind of what's helped you have so much success in your career?
Yeah, I feel like you know, we all evolve as individuals, and then through our professional life, personal life, and figuring out how to balance the stress of professional life, especially, and then the challenges of personal life and being a father of 2. I feel that fitness has, yes, made me physically stronger, and I think helps me in incidents like I had in Pocono, where I'm in good shape and my body could withstand an impact like that. But there are so many takeaways about having a departure in some way from the grind of the sport, and using triathlon to get started, and certainly all the cycling I'm doing now. I'm excited for Saturday afternoon when the garage closes, because there's some awesome roads to go ride around here. And instead of being stuck in that motorhome for 10 hours again, for the 16th year in a row at Michigan in June or July, whatever it is, I'm going to go explore and go see and have a good time. So, it's yes, there's been so many physical takeaways that I've been able to apply to my job, but honestly, the mental side is really paying off in just having an outlet. And I have to say, just to pull it back to an individual that kind of sparked my mind on all this was Mark Martin. We watched Mark race deep into his career and be super competitive, race for championships into his 50s. I don't think I've got that in me. from a time commitment standpoint to go deep, to go into my 50s in racing, but there was something there that I saw, and he tried to express it to me about how sharp it kept his mind, how it was great to have something outside of the traditional racing schedule to keep him occupied, and I've been able to tap into that myself.
One more quick one. Even though this just came out today, I guess, do you have some goals in mind of what you'd like to see yourself, or how do you want to grow as a driver maybe in the next 3 years? Do you still feel you have room to grow?
Yeah, there's always room to grow as a driver. We have so many things change, rules packages, tire construction is always evolving, that you have to change the preparation side and the debrief side, and just being as buttoned up as you can week in and week out. How you drive the car has evolved and changed. And then I feel with my tenure at Hendrick Motorsports, there's something inside of me to really help my teammates and to help the overall cause for Hendrick Motorsports. Spent a lot of time, obviously, with Chase over the years. Been able to help Dale recently. Been able to help Casey. There's a lot of satisfaction that comes in that, and to help Hendrick Motorsports, and I see that kind of growing as time goes on.
Chase?
Chase Will on FoxSports.com. Jimmie, Rick Hendrick has a history of keeping long-lasting relationships with sponsors. Excuse me. Like, for example, Jeff Gordon and DuPont Exalta. What is it about Rick that allows him to do that, to keep sponsors on board like Lowe's and others?
The culture and winning success at Hendrick Motorsports is probably the cornerstone of that. But Rick is a businessman, and through his connections through the automotive business and through life, I think he can offer more than just a marketing relationship with a sponsor. There's a lot of business-to-business work that takes place. Technology world continues to grow, and there's partnerships that grow there and benefit more than your traditional marketing program. So I put a fair amount of weight in that, and just his abilities as a businessman to see outside of just a marketing program.
Go to Bob, and then we'll finish up with Lee.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. Do you have any guarantees over the next 3 years that your brakes are going to be good? And are you concerned about? There have been several big crashes this year as a result, not just yours, with brake problems.
Yeah, the brake issues. I've had issues at Dover. Not Dover. At Pocono before, and it surfaced again. We do have a new element with the lower downforce on the car, and that contributed to our problem. And then I just used the brakes too much. So I've got to take some responsibility in that, and my driving style lends to aggressive braking. And we'll make sure that we have a beefed up braking system going back to Pocono here shortly. But the environment has changed, and with a long straightaway into turn one at Pocono like that and a low downforce package, it just put more of a burden on the brake system than we anticipated.
Lee?
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Do you have a lifetime contract? I mean, are you allowed to stay there as long as you want? Just so the people that say, "Well, Jeff Gordon had a lifetime contract," you can stay there as long as you want. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I've had some discussions, and I think that was in play at one point in time, but we just elected to go a different route. And Rick and I have always said to one another on our word that I always have a spot at Hendrick Motorsports, and I've always told him I'm never going anywhere. So instead of it being necessarily a statement and shown through a lifetime contract, we've just had a handshake and an agreement amongst friends that I've got a car, and I've always told him I'm never going anywhere.
And as far as this new generation of drivers coming in, even though you're so physically fit and what have you, and you've extended your career, do you anticipate that this next generation will be there in their 40s like you are in Kenseth and Junior, et cetera?
I think that the lifespan is getting shorter. Racing into your 50s or late 40s, I don't think generationally it's gonna continue to go that way. But then there are guys, when you look at Kyle Larson's love of racing anything and everything, you could work up a discussion that he'll race till he's Red Farmer's age. Or you can maybe say he's probably going to hit burnout at some point in time and maybe stop sooner. I don't know. But you know, as long as people are having fun and you can balance your personal life and your professional life, I think that gives you a long runway. And it's just not easy to do. You know, when you start off in your 20s or teens, you know, it's so easy to have racing be number one. You grow so much as an individual through your 20s and into your 30s. Most people start a family then, or get married, then a family. You know, there's just a lot of growing that goes on over that period of time. And for me, I've had, you know, not only great teammates at the track, but having a great teammate with Shani and my family being all in and supporting what I do, and it's allowed me to do this. So the decisions young drivers make in their personal life and the pressures they have that surround them, there's no telling where it's going to lead them. But you'll always have some guys that go deep. I think you will, but I guess, again, to answer your question, I think directionally it is getting shorter. You know, when you look at Junior stepping down, Jeff stepped, although he was here for a long time, 23 full-time seasons, you know, he left mid-40s. So I think that mid-40 mark's probably going to be more of a trend than late 50s or late 40s and into the 50s.
Well, Jimmie, congratulations again. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, everybody.